In a tumultuous time of religious conflict, a girl named Mary, only 12 years old at the time, began to prostitute herself in the city of Alexandria. She lived a dissolute life, often refusing money offered for her sexual favors, as she was driven by an insatiable and irrepressible passion. After 17 years of this life, she traveled to Jerusalem for a sort of anti-pilgrimage, hoping to find in the pilgrimage crowd even more partners in lust. She paid her passage in sexual favor. Jerusalem held a festival in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and when Mary tried to enter for the celebration, she was barred by an unseen force. Realizing that this was because of her impurity, she was struck with remorse, and on seeing the icon of the Theotokos, the Virgin Mary, outside the church, she prayed for forgiveness and promised to give up the world. Then she attempted again to enter the church, and this time was permitted in. After venerating the relic of the true cross, she returned to the icon to give thanks, and heard a voice telling her, "If you cross the Jordan, you will find glorious rest, true peace." She immediately went to the monastery of St. John the Baptist on the bank of the River Jordan, where she received absolution and afterwards Holy Communion. The next morning she crossed the Jordan and retired to the desert to live the rest of her life as a hermit in penitence. She took with her only 3 loaves of bread, and once they were gone, lived only on what she could find in the wilderness. Approximately 1 year before her death, she recounted her life to St. Zosimus of Palestine, who encountered her in the desert. When he unexpectedly met her in the desert, she was completely naked and almost unrecognizable as human. She asked Zosimus to toss her his mantle to cover herself with, and then she narrated her life story to him, manifesting marvelous clairvoyance. She asked him to meet her at the banks of the Jordan on Holy Thursday of the following year, and bring her Holy Communion. When he fulfilled her wish, she crossed the river to get to him by walking on the surface of the water and received Holy Communion, telling him to meet her again in the desert the following Lent. The next year, Zosimus traveled to the same spot where he first met her, some 12 days' journey from his monastery, and found her lying there dead. According to an inscription written in the sand next to her head, she had died on the very night he had given her communion, and had somehow miraculously transported to the place he found her, and her body preserved incorrupt. He buried her body with the assistance of a passing lion. On returning to the monastery, he related her life story to the brethren, and it was preserved among them as an oral tradition until it was written down by Saint Sophronius.
Sophronius, known for many of his writings, is claimed to be the original writer of the Vita, which includes St. Mary of Egypt's story. The account he gave for Mary and Zosimus, their endeavors, was claimed to happen during the life of said author, Sophronius, right? Yet other similar accounts were given about 2 characters recognized as Mary and Zosimus. These accounts were given way before Sophronius's Vita was written. Cyril, he was supposedly the man who wrote it in the mid-6th century, a story that's very similar to Sophronius's account. See, Sophronius lived for 78 years through the years of 560 through 638. I get my numbers mixed up. I think it was CE. That's after Christ had passed away or was born, or whatever the Anno Domini names are. Anyways, so they think that Sophronius really wasn't there when these accounts took place with Mary of Saint Egypt and Zosimus. Maybe Cyril was actually there, but however, both accounts were written by some pretty good guys, and it was a pretty good story. Sophronius, being an ascetic himself, shares many beliefs with Saint Mary. They were both believers in monotheism, one God. Self-discipline was a major part of Saint Mary and Sophronius' life. I believe it is safe to infer that the story of Saint Mary and Zosimus was an inspiration to the author Sophronius. I believe Sophronius valued the testimony of Saint Mary, what she gave to Zosimus. I believe he wrote the Vita for most likely people of faith, people, he wanted to know he wanted them to know the testimony of Saint Mary, which she gave to Zosimus. I believe her story is very influential. Possibly Sophronius wanted it to have a life-changing a life-changing effect, of the readers of this piece. And that's basically all I really, have to think about them.
The life of Saint Mary of Egypt represents the popular hagiographical literature of the time that takes the holy harlot tale and transforms Mary in a more angelic context. The popularity of Mary of Egypt's tale was dominant in Eastern medieval Europe and stretched to the Mediterranean lands. The proof can be found in several translations documented. This Vita influenced Eastern Orthodox literature. An example would be the life of Theos Koskai of Lesbos, and hymnography, a biography of hymns. This Vita also influenced art, and in Byzantine art is depicted as an androgynous figure with a dark complexion, and her thin body is covered in a piece of cloth. She's seen accompanied by Zosimus, with her arms stretched out to him. In the 20th century, Mary was the subject of 4 paintings by artist Emil Nold, a German artist who collectively got all her works and called The Legend of Saint Mary of Egypt. 3 paintings depict Mary and triptych, they're panel paintings, and they are titled In the Port of Alexandria, The Conversion, and Death in the Desert. The 4th painting, along with the panel, can be found in the Museum Folkwang in Hamburg. These works are seen as Nold's most significant works. Although the tale of Mary is not well known in Germany and most of Europe at the time, the collection received little attention. However, the inspiration of Mary can still inspire art, although Nold left little clues to where he drew his inspiration. It is speculated he drew from Rainer Maria Rilke's poem published in 1908. In the second half of Neue Jerusalem, but it still remains unclear. However, Nold did leave a clue in a letter to the owner of the triptych in June, my birthday month, 1917, as he wrote the lines, "I have the text of the Legend of Saint Mary right here. These are the concise words that suggested the arrangement. Take my body as your payment. I pray to you with great solemnity. The lion dug the grave there with his paws." Nold's clues are a nod to his 3 paintings in his triptych.
Saint Mary of Egypt's Vita is a good representation of a genre of hagiographies detailing the lives of so-called holy harlots. These hagiographies tell of formerly promiscuous women who through divine intervention are converted to the Christian way and live devoutly. These types of hagiographies were particularly popular among Christian people living at the time, and the Vita of Saint Mary of Egypt followed in this mold. Saint Mary's story is relayed through the priest Zosimus, who traveled out to the desert in order to further challenge his spiritual fitness. While in the desert, Zosimus encountered Saint Mary, who he first believed was a spiritual being. In fact, Miller notes that the original depiction of Mary evokes a messianic image from the book of Revelations. Once Zosimus begins to talk to Saint Mary, she tells him of her conversion away from a public temptation of licentiousness to the holy woman that Zosimus encountered. Robertson points out that the actual process of becoming a saint is not emphasized, but rather the end result is the most important part of this Vita. This hagiography, which ends with Zosimus burying Saint Mary with the help of a lion, exemplifies a popular brand of hagiographic genre, and was used to give instruction to monks and common Christians alike.
As Mary exemplified a type, holy harlot, rather than a historical person, she was likely a combination of many female ascetics of the period. Because of this, the life of St. Mary of Egypt is of more interest as a literary work. Nevertheless, historians can use the life to observe some general themes of Christian ascetic life at the time, such as extreme deprivation, Mary only had a few loaves of bread, extreme poverty, Mary had no clothing, and extreme solitude, Mary had seen no one for decades.
Hi, I'm Professor Simeon Stalite of the Desert School for Aesthetics.
Dr. Colleen Constantine, phoning in from Istanbul, or Constantinople if you prefer.
Hi, I'm Dr. Roman Theotokos, Professor of Semantics and Culture from the University of St. Mary for the Visigoths.
My name's Miss Willman from the University of Pink and Purple. I teach psychology.
Well, little Romanites, it's been good talking to you. And don't forget to check out my new book. I should have taken Western Civilization, the 7th edition. Later!